I thought someone was going to email me about joining this. I don't know how to add people. Let me check my email really fast. PJC was already pulled up. One email. Oh, no. Okay. Okay. I did get an email. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. So what we're going to do, it says live on YouTube. I really should figure out this whole Zoom thing if I'm going to try to use it. Okay, so we're going to go and do the second half of the review. The exam 2 is on Monday, October the 12th. It's going to look exactly like this review that I've done. I'm going to follow the same format, same types of questions, same order, but all of the numbers will be different. Okay, so the main thing is just, do you remember the process? Do you remember how to set it up? And then it's just solving the equation. So right now we're on problem 5, which says, it just says solve the problem, give the equation using x as the variable, and give the answer. Okay, and if you look, I've got 2 little basically blanks, right, to put my answers. So this would be a 2-parter. You do half of it, you could have the points, right? So what it tells me, this first slot right here is going to be the actual equation, and then I'm going to solve it, and the answer is going to go here. That's the number. So it tells me 1 less than 4 times a number. My number is x. I know I have 4 times a number, 1 less than that. So this would be read 1 less than 4 times a number. Just make sure it's in this format, because if you write it any different, your signs would end up being wrong, and then your answer is completely wrong. This is 4 times a number, and this is taking 1 away from it. But of course, when math is written in words, it just seems backwards. So 1 less than 4 times a number says is equal to, awesome. I know what equal to is, it's the equal sign, right? 20 more than 7 times a number. So I have my 7 times a number, 20 more is going to be plus 20. And then it says, what is the number? So 4x minus 1 plus 7x plus 20, yes. So that is my equation. And then now we can just go ahead and solve it. I know that what I want to do is, of course, solve for x. What is my x, right? Because I've got an x on both sides, I want to combine them. And the way I'm going to do that is I need to move one of them. If I move this 7, y'all, 7's larger than 4, right? Because it's positive, wouldn't I be subtracting? But if I do that on the left-hand side, I end up getting a negative x. I don't particularly want to deal with a negative x. There is an additional step you can do if you do have a negative x. But if you could just notice that to move this 4 means I need to subtract 4. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. I like the way this looks better, because my x is going to remain positive, right? When I do that math right there, that subtraction. On the left-hand side, I have 4x minus 4x. Awesome, goes away. I did that for a reason, and it worked out. Oh, okay, so maybe you might want to rewrite the problem on the exam. Does that make sense? Because if you work on what you filled in there, I'm just now seeing this, y'all. But if you work on what we put for the answer here, you end up marking it all out. It might be hard for me to grade. So once you do get your equation, maybe go ahead and rewrite it, work on that, okay? But we're good now, because y'all can see my mistake. Okay, so that went away. Scoot over right here. I have a -1 that I have not done anything to, so I'm going to bring that down. I got my equal sign. Now what I get to is 7x minus 4x. So those are like terms because they each have an x. I can do math here. And what you do when you have the same variable with the exact same exponent and you're adding or subtracting is you just add or subtract the numbers and then keep variable, keep exponent. So 7 minus 4 is going to give me 3. Keep your variable, keep your exponent. I get 3x. Y'all, I haven't touched this 20. I'm just going to bring it down. It is okay if x is on the left. It's okay if x is on the right. As long as you do your math correctly and you don't break any laws, like that equal sign means you could write it either way, okay? Goal, still the same. Solve for x. That's a positive 20. Doing this subtraction is actually mathematically easier than looking at that 3 and trying to divide everything. right? And that's always what I want to do is what's going to be the easiest math? Well, since it's positive, I would subtract it. That's the inverse. And then that's going to make that go away, right? I always do it from left to right though, y'all. Okay, I'm subtracting 20 from both sides right here. Okay, so if I look at these and I combine these, you could use your calculator. Or what I'll always say is I'm adding and subtracting, right? These signs are the same. So what I've taught y'all is add the numbers, keep the sign. And y'all, if you wanted to do little lines like this, that's a shaky line. If you wanted to do little lines like that so you can really see it as like, you know, it's an addition problem or a subtraction problem, that's fine. Just don't let it confuse you, okay? But yeah, I have -1 in my bank and I went and spent 20 more. Well, I went more negative, right? It's a bigger number, but it's still negative. And then y'all, what do I have here? I've got my equal sign. I've got the 3x, and then those canceled, right? Same exact number, different signs. They go away. Same thing we did here. I did that for a reason. I needed it to go away. I wanted it to go away. Excuse me. I'm almost done because I'm trying to solve for x. The only thing mathematically left to do is the opposite of what's happening to my x. My x is being multiplied by 3. The opposite or the inverse of multiplication is division. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So y'all, right here, 21 divided by 3. Isn't that 7? Negative divided by positive. What I say is signs are different. So that makes it negative, right? And then I have my equal sign. And then right here, I did that for a reason. I used division to cancel out that multiplication because those 3 become a 1, right? So I'm just left with 1x. Now right here where it says the number is, if you wrote x equals -7 or -7 equal x or just the number -7, those are all the exact same. Those neither of those would be incorrect. These are all saying the exact same thing. So whether or not you had the x on the other side or the exact same way we did it, or if you just wrote the number, that's correct to me, okay? And the good thing about me doing this is I'm seeing how problems probably need more space to solve them. You know what I mean? So whenever I tap this up, I'll make sure I do that. It just might feel like a thick test, but it's still going to be the same material. Okay, moving on. A 1 cup serving of orange juice contains 3 milligrams less than 4 times the amount of vitamin C as a 1 cup serving of pineapple juice. So wordy. Servings of the 2 juices contain a total of 132 milligrams of vitamin C. So the servings of 2 juices contain a total. So I'm thinking of total as equal, right? Servings of the 2 juices, that means if I add the 2 juices together, they're going to equal 132 milligrams. So how many milligrams are in both of them, right? So I need to go ahead and come to the side wherever. I'll definitely give y'all more room, okay? The 2 juices I have an orange juice and I have a pineapple juice. Okay, so if you read your problem here, it says 1 cup serving of orange juice. So I'm looking at orange juice. 1 cup serving of orange juice contains 3 milligrams less than 4 times the amount. It gets really wordy, but you see how it's telling me how much orange juice there is based off of the amount of pineapple juice. But did it ever tell me how much the pineapple juice is? It uses the pineapple juice to try to explain the orange juice, but it didn't tell me anything about the orange juice, right? I'm sorry, about the pineapple juice. So because of that, I know that my pineapple juice is going to be my X. And then you would kind of go back and reread that again, okay? It's like you're telling me about orange juice. You didn't tell me about pineapple juice, so that's my unknown. Pineapple juice is my unknown. Now let me start reading that again. A 1 cup serving of orange juice is, here we go, 3 milligrams less than 4 times the amount. I don't remember what problem it was. Oh, the one right above us, y'all. 1 less than 4 times. 1 less 4 times. Do you see how it's worded the exact same way? That should give you a clue that you're going to use that same thought process. But here it says 3. I don't really care, honestly, that it says milligrams. I care about the math, like just the numbers. 3 less than. So I know I'm going to have a 3, and I know it's being subtracted away from something. 3 less than 4 times the amount of what's in pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is X. So this is saying that a 1 cup serving of orange juice has 3 milligrams less than 4 times the amount of the vitamin C in pineapple juice. As long as you can know, the one it didn't really tell you that much information about is your X. Hopefully doing a similar problem before it could remind you that that's how you set up the one they are talking about. Now, what did I say? I said right here, the servings of the 2 contain a total of 132. I wrote add here because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add both of those together and set it equal to the 132. There's my equation. Solve it. Okay. So you take your orange juice and you add to it your pineapple juice, and it told me that they have a total of 132 milligrams. Okay. So left-hand side, I got a bunch of different X's. So, I mean, in order to solve for 1x, I need to only have 1x. So let's see, let's combine them. 4x plus 1x equals 5x. We have our -3 equal 132. I would move my 3, right? The easiest thing mathematically is to do this addition. I'm just coming down right here, y'all, okay? So on my left-hand side, I haven't touched that 5x. Those cancel. Great. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to move it. I was trying to get rid of it. Equal. Okay, y'all, if you do 132 plus 3, I get 135. Who is their calculator? I just don't want anything to be wrong. I can get mine. There we go. 135 divided by 5. So I know it's divided by 5, right? Because I'm trying to solve for my X. It's being multiplied by 5. I need to divide by 5. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do the other. 5 divided by 5 equals 1. So I just have an X left equal 135 divided by 5 was 27. Am I done? The answer is no, right? And the reason why I'm not done, I notice here I've got 2 blanks, but I only really have 1 answer. So I need to look at how I originally started the problem. I wrote that pineapple juice, I'm representing it as X, right? So if I solve for X, what I solved for was pineapple juice. So where it says a serving of pineapple juice contains, I'm writing 27. Now, if the only thing it wanted was the cost, not the cost, why am I thinking cost, was the amount of milligrams of vitamin C in pineapple juice, I would be done, right? But it doesn't want that. It wants them in both. So you've got 2 options here. Whenever we first did it in the videos on YouTube, I didn't do this, but I'm going to show you. You got 2 options here. We can take this 27, plug it into this expression, right? And we're going to get how much vitamin C is in orange juice. And that would look like this. So 4 times 27 is 108. And then minus 3 would be what? 105. Y'all agree with me? That's how I can figure out the other one. I know what my X is. It just happens to be like a little, not really an equation, but like a little bitty expression. That's what it's called. So let me plug that in. Let me figure it out. I get 105. If this makes sense to you, it's like a shortcut. If it doesn't, just take it out of your brain. So once I found 27, didn't I say if I add them both together, I get 132? So if I have 132 and I know I'm going to subtract pineapple juice. Y'all, the difference, that's my orange juice. Okay? You could do it to check yourself. You could do it instead of, right? All I care about is right here, the 2 numbers that I expect to see, I see. If they're not correct, that's when I go back and I really look at step for step, okay? But I know that it told me if I add these together, I get 132. So what I can do is subtract this and I get the difference, okay? And then, of course, that's where I put the points that y'all made out of that, off that page. Okay. A boy bought, very weird, I pasted it, a party length sandwich. Take these off. A party length sandwich that was 59 inches long. He wants to cut it into 3 pieces so that the middle piece, honestly, y'all, my answers, I can't see y'all at all, is gonna be short, middle, long, right? So in order to solve this equation, I need to have values for all 3 of those. So SML. I need to like declare this is this, this is this, this is this. So that would be the first thing you would do. Short, middle, long, SML, whatever you want to write. Now that I've gotten that, when I read, I can kind of fill things in. So he wants to cut it into 3 pieces so that the middle piece, I'm right here, is 5 inches longer than the shortest. Okay, that doesn't really tell me anything because I don't know what the shortest is, right? So let me keep reading. And the longest piece is 9 inches longer than the shortest. Okay, great. So you've told me about the middle, you told me about the longest, but the way you described their lengths was based off of the shortest, right? And then it just wants to know about the 3 pieces. What is the piece they didn't tell me anything about? The shortest. They told me the middle is bigger than the shortest, and they told me the longest, that the longest is bigger than the shortest. But I don't know anything about the shortest. So that's my unknown. That's my X. Now that you've kind of like, okay, I was able to figure out which one I don't know anything about, then go back and read and you can fill in the different expressions right here for all the different pieces. So he wants to cut in 3 pieces. Here we go. That the middle piece is 5 inches longer than the shortest. Great. I know now that my shortest is X. So if my middle piece is 5 longer than X, I would do X plus 5, right? That's saying my shortest piece and add an additional. Do 5 inches more, right? So 5 inches longer than my X. That's why I'm adding plus 5 to it. And then it also tells me that the longest piece, if y'all notice, y'all, I worded this way better than it did in the homework. That longest one, they did it all backwards. I try to be more straightforward here, okay? Told me that the longest piece is 9 longer than the shortest, 9 more than the shortest, right? So if my shortest is X, and for my longest piece, I do 9 more, I do 9 inches longer, don't I just add 9, right? Hopefully you can kind of see the similarities between all of these problems, just kind of applied in different ways. And then let's see, I know this is an equation. These are expressions. There's no equal sign, but to solve these problems, I need an equation. So equations have equal signs. This sandwich is gonna equal what, y'all? 59, that total length, right? All 3 of these pieces, when I piece them together, they're going to equal 59. I wouldn't be doing any subtraction here, right? The whole sandwich is 59 inches, not just the biggest and the smallest part, but the whole thing. So that tells me I take each individual small, middle, long, whatever they make these SMLs, that's smallest, and then that's the middle piece, and then that's the longest piece. All 3 of these pieces make up one sandwich. And the one sandwich that he bought, they told me was 59 inches long. They might not say total. They might not say really anything else. You just need to know. The whole sandwich includes all the pieces of the sandwich, right? So that's how I know I need to add it all up. Okay, so y'all, we solve it. Left-hand side, I've got a ton of X's. I just want to know what one of those X's equals. Kind of not really the right way to say it, but I just want to know what the value is of an X. AX, NX. Both of them sound weird. It's not really a vowel, but I just want X equal, right? So that's a plus X, right? That's a plus 1X. That's a plus 1X. This is a plus 1x. 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. And then when I look here, I got a positive 5 and a positive 9. Use your calculator, you're going to get 14. The way you'll hear me say it is signs are the same, so you add them together and you keep their sign. So technically what that would be called is like I simplified. I made that left-hand side a lot more simple compared to the way that it was written. Equal 59. Y'all, do I divide here? Would I divide here if I'm trying to solve for x, or would I subtract the 14? Yeah, just looking at my two options, solving x, goal, right? My two options to solve x is either divide by 3 or subtract 14. Do what's mathematically easier. Subtracting's easier than division. So you do that first. So if you do 59, I'm going to actually write it down, y'all, but I'm going to get 45. So I subtract 14 from both sides. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other. I get 3x. If y'all look right here, 14 minus 14 equals 0, right? Additive inverse, that's what I've been teaching. That's what I mean by those go away. Equal 59 minus 14, my phone said 45. Now what do? Divide by 3. That's the only thing, mathematically speaking, that can reverse, cancel, get rid of it multiplying a 3. Divide by 3, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other, y'all. 3 divided by 3 is 1. That's why all I have now is an x. Equal 45 divided by 3 is 15. I just now solved a length of one of these pieces, right? Not all of them. The reason why I know it's not all of them is because I only solved for x. The only thing that's x is the shortest piece. So if shortest is x and x is 15, then shortest is 15. Now look at that expression, y'all. You shouldn't have to plug these in per se. For the middle piece, I get the same length as the shortest plus 5. So what's 15 plus 5? And now let's look at my longest. I know that the expression for my longest piece of this sandwich is the same length as the shortest and then 9 more. So 15 and 9 more, 9 and 5 is 14. Is it 24? Pretty sure it's 24. Right? Yeah. Okay. If you wanted to do a check, if you kind of did a little shortcut and you're like, I just really want to make sure, like the last thing I want to do is not get all the points or just do poorly on a test, because those are a big portion of your grade, y'all. What we can do, shortest piece plus middle piece plus longest piece. Was the total of my whole sandwich 59? So I know that those are correct. Okay. Moving on. Oh, yeah, because it's Friday. I was like, how is there a kid going to my house right now? Because they don't have school all week. It's been great. I'm totally kidding. If the sum of 3 consecutive even integers is 174, what is the first of the 3 even integers? Hint. If x and x plus 2 represent the first 2 of those even integers, then how would you do the third? So if you agree with me, I'm going to kind of come right here. If y'all agree with me, we can say 2 is an even integer, right? Because it's an even integer. It just told me that if x and x plus 2 represents the first ones. So let's say that they told me that this is my x, right? And this is just kind of an example to really show you how I'm pulling any of this out, okay? It told me that I could add 2 to my x. My x is 2 and I add 2. What do I get? 4? Do y'all agree? 2 and then going to 4, those are consecutive even numbers, right? You don't usually put much thought into it. If you're counting even numbers, you just go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. What you're doing is you're adding 2 to the previous one. 2, 4, this would be 6, right? Which would literally, I found out that this was 4. So I would have my 4, I'm adding 2 more. I don't know why I have this right here. but I would end up getting 6. So the way we would write this, it already gave me 2/3 of what I need to know right here. It says hint, x and x plus 2 represent the first two. Sum means add, right? So that means I'm going to take my first even integer and I'm going to add to it my second even integer. They already told me x plus 2 is my second one. Now, if I want to find the next one consecutively going in order, I would add to it. When I went from 2 to 4, I added 2, right? But if I go from 2 to 6, I'm adding 4. So you have that same train of thought here. X plus 2 plus x plus 4. If we kept on, y'all, it would go x plus 6, x plus 8. Each time this value, this numerical number is going to increase by 2. But if you look, the problem already gives you this, y'all. If you see a problem that wants consecutive even integers, they're giving you this. That's all you need to know that you're also adding, right? And it told me they equal what? 174? So there you go, 174. The sum, add, of 3 consecutive integers, there's 1, there's the second, there's the third, is, that's my equal, 174, there's my number. Now it says, what is the first? What's the first of them? Well, what's the first? So that means whenever you solve this, it told me my first even integer was x, right? So when we solve this equation and we get x equals, we actually are done with this answer. Does that make sense? You don't have to figure out the other integers. So we're literally just looking for the first. And it told me x is the first of the two. X plus 2 was the second. So now what do I got going on here? I got an x and an x and an x, bunches of x's. I just want to solve for 1x. So the only way I can do that at first is to like combine them together, really simplify it, and then solve the equation. 1x plus 1x plus 1x is 3x. Right here, plus 2 plus 4, was that plus 6? Equal 174. Y'all, literally, second verse, same as the first, what we've been doing. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot of redundancies, right? What we need to do is now move, cancel, use the inverse of this 6. Get it away from the left-hand side. I don't want it near my x. I'm trying to just solve for x. So left-hand side, 3x, those cancel, equal 174 minus 6, 168. Now, to get x by itself, it's being multiplied by 3, so we divide by 3. Always remembering that whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Left-hand side, those 3's go away, right? I just have x equal. If you do 168 divided by 3, you get 56. Do you agree with me? Here's your check. Is 56 an even integer? Yeah. If for some random reason you on accident get 57, 57 is not even. So something messed up here, right? I'm specifically looking for an even integer. And it told me it wants the first even integer. This is my first even integer. So I'm done. Okay. In the homework, if it says, what are all of your integers? It'd be 56 and then 58 and then 60. Does that make sense? Because it's even and it's consecutive. So it's one after another. So this answer would be 56. Okay, y'all. Find the measure of each marked angle. Question. This angle is going to have a sum of something, right? I'm going to take both of these angles because it makes up this whole angle. That means I'm going to add them. The hiccups. That means I'm going to add them. As far as it being an equation, I need to know what this equals. And if it's a right angle, what does the sum of these measures equal? 90 degrees. That's because it's a little itty bitty cute angle. Complementary 90. You could do the degree symbol. I mean, yes or no, it doesn't bother me. And if you heard what I said just before, Trace said 90 was these combined together. Both of these little bitty pieces, when you put them next to each other, make this actual angle. And I know that they're going to add to give me 90 because it's a little cute right angle. Y'all, just so you know, hint, hint. If you see something that looks like this, does that add to 90? Both of those angles add to 90? No, they'd add to 180. Okay? So, but for this example, these are going to add to 90, which means they're going to equal 90. And I'm actually going to add them. Now, I wouldn't be subtracting anything. Both of those angles make this a whole. So I need to add both of them. So the expression, y'all, that's inside of your parentheses, that's all you need to bring down. Okay, I feel as if you write this whole thing, parentheses 7x, parentheses degree, you're going to confuse yourself. It happens to the best of us. There's no reason to do that and then have to write it again, right? We literally just need what's inside of there, which is a 7x. And then, like, of course, I'm not done. I'm saying this plus this equals 90. So I need to write this expression, which is 7x minus 8. So y'all see this plus this totaled all of this, which I know that's the degrees of that angle, okay? Y'all, little bitty equation, solve it. Get our x's together, solve for x, okay? Here, awesome. My x's are on the same side. I don't really have to move anything. I can just combine them, right? So plus 7x plus 7x. Well, 7 plus 7 is 14, right? And then we keep the variable, keep the exponent. I can do that because they're exactly alike. And then what do I have? Minus 8 equals 90. Just like the other problems, you would not divide here. You want to move that 8 first, okay? It was negative. It's moving on the other side of the equal sign, which means what we use is the opposite sign. That's the inverse. Y'all, left-hand side, I'm going to kind of come right here. 14x. Do y'all agree those canceled? Which is great because I'm literally moving it, so I want it to cancel. Equal 90 plus 8 is what? 98. Now I divide. Why did I do that? I was thinking I was in my other class. It's just 14, y'all. I think I know this one. I think I was trying to do that division in my head. That's why I got a little confused. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Okay. 14 divided by 14 is 1. So that just leaves me with x equals 98 divided by 14 is 7. This problem, you're not done. We need to know the actual degrees of these angles. So I would look at the expression. I would look at how it is here, and I would do that math. So I'm on the bottom left one just because it's a little bit easier right now, right? That would be what? 7 times 7? Is that right? So I get what? 49? 2 steps. You can either go 7 times 7 minus 8, right? That's this expression. 7 times 7 is 49. Minus 8 is what? 41? Right? Or once you got 49, y'all, I know it totals to 90. One of my angles is 49. Let me take that one away. That's my other angle. If doing the little expression, you know, I want to save a little bit of time. That totally makes sense. I'm going to move on to the next problem. You can do that. It's not a big deal. All of this is what's more important because if you don't get 7, it doesn't matter what you do after that. Okay? Okay, y'all. Make sure y'all ask questions if y'all have any especially kind of here because I didn't go over this thoroughly in class. I did it more on the videos, but because I really only have about 10 minutes, I want to make sure we also get to finish these, okay? So I'm not going to go like super slow. So for problem 10 on the review, I've got solve the equation P equals C plus B plus A. Why did that happen? Y'all, did I break it? Oh, look, the little button touched it. Right there, this thingy. Whew. Be a bad week, some get stolen and I break some. Okay, I wanted to zoom in. Solve the equation P equals C plus B plus A for C. I'm literally not kidding. We have been doing these this whole time. The only thing is it's had numbers and we're solving for a variable, right? The only difference here and why we would consider it abstract is because you won't see many numbers, but the process is still the exact same. So I'm gonna write it right here. P equals C plus B plus A. Solve for C. Okay. Any other time I'm trying to solve for X, I look what's going on around it, right? Whatever's going on around it, I'm going to do the opposite and I'm going to move it. Same exact thing. What's going on right now around my C is that I have a B adding to it and I have an A adding to it. Well, if these are both being added to what I'm trying to solve for, I do the opposite. I do the inverse. The opposite of addition is subtraction, right? Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. Do y'all agree with me? Hopefully, P and B, those are not the same, right? They're both variables, but they are not the same variable. So you can't actually do math here, right? So what you do is you literally just write your P and you just write your minus B equals. Now say it was P plus 2P. Those would be the same, right? You could actually do math on those. These are two different variables. So the only thing we can do mathematically is we just write them down. Okay, that's a P and that's a minus B. That's a negative B. Don't try to make that PB or a minus PB or you broke math. Okay, left or right hand side. I have a C. Bring it down. Yeah, plus B minus B. That's like plus 6 minus 6. Don't they go away? Like I did that for a reason, right? Bye. Adios. Right here, plus A. And don't get me wrong, if y'all wanted to do 2 steps in one, you can as long as your answer is correct, okay? Trying to solve for C, right? What's going on around my C? I got an A being added to it. Well, I want just C. I don't want C plus A. So if I don't want C plus A, I need to move that A, do the opposite. That's a plus A, U minus A. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. I get that this kind of looks ugly and it kind of looks cluttery. You just have to remember that if they're not the exact same variable, you can't do math. You can just write them down for the way that they are. On that left-hand side, I have a P minus a B minus an A. All different variables. I'm just writing them because I'm kind of running out of room. I'm going to go ahead and write it right here, okay? P minus B minus A. And then I would have had an equal, and then do you see how those canceled? What did I get? P minus B minus A equal C, because that A canceled. That's your answer. Same exact steps, same exact logic. Super confusing sometimes because in your mind, it doesn't make any sense not to have a single number anywhere, at least multiple numbers, right? Okay, y'all. Solve y equals bx plus n for b. Y equals bx plus n. I'm solving it for b. So you would look at this the same way you would look at like 5x plus 2. What would I do? I'd move that 2, right? I'd move the one over here. Same thing. Bx plus n. I'm solving for this. This is easier to move first. Let me move that. Minus n, minus n. Are those the same? Y and n? No, y is not n and n is not y. Just write them down. That's a positive y. That's a negative n. equal. Haven't touched this. The bx, haven't touched it. Plus n minus n, those went away. I did that for a reason. Y'all notice I'm even saying the same things as the equations because I'm doing the same steps. Now this is what I have. Y minus n equal bx. If I had 5 multiplying an x, wouldn't I divide by 5? I have a b multiplying with an x. So wouldn't I divide by x? I hate that they use x here because it really throws off kind of the way the equations looked and always solving for x. But in these little chunk of problems, you're not always solving for x. You're solving for some random stuff and it looks even more random. You just have to trust the process and the fact that you understand the steps, okay? So y'all, what you do to one side, you have to do to the other, right? What happens right here? X divided by x. Same thing as saying 3 divided by 3. Doesn't it become 1, right? So it kind of, in all of our other math, it just kind of went away. Like all the other problems, they cancel each other out. That's multiplication. This is division. They're inverses. So what did I just solve for? B. The answer is y minus n over x. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do it quickly. Okay, so this problem says k equals 1 over 2 in parentheses s plus t plus r close parentheses. We're solving for s. Do y'all see how s is inside of the parentheses? There's a bunch of stuff going on right now. I need to figure out how can I just get my s alone. Sorry, I was thinking about maybe making something like this a bonus problem, but we already have the stuff to do on my math lab to get it, so never mind. Okay, so personally, I know that like even following PEMDAS, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, all of that. I would notice that I've got parentheses right here. So if I try to figure out how I could solve these parentheses, those aren't the same letters. I can't really do anything here, but I do notice that I've got a 1 over 2 multiplying that set of parentheses. I personally don't want to work with an equation that has fractions. If you want to distribute, you can. You're going to have 1 over 2s plus 1 over 2t plus 1 over, you just went from 1 fraction to 3 fractions, right? Instead, if you wanted to cancel the fractions, that's what we did last time. Whenever we look, what's in my denominator, y'all? 2. Multiply both sides by 2. That's going to cancel that fraction. Two times k is 2k equal. I'm going to write this right here so y'all can see it a little bit different than it being small and kind of weird and kind of sideways. What I'm doing right here is 2 and I'm multiplying it to 1 over 2. Do you agree with me? 2 can be written over 1. Is that right? Yeah? I didn't change it, right? Now do that math. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 2 is 2. What is 2 over 2? It's just 1. So do you see what I'm saying? Mathematically, what I did was I made that fraction cancel, because once I do this times this, I'm literally making all of that go to 1. I just did my hand all crazy. I'm making all of that go to 1. So now the only thing I have left is s plus t plus r. Again, distribute the 1/2. Kind of looks really ugly because you got a couple of fractions. If you understand this, just cancel that fraction. Get rid of it, right? By using the denominator. Now, what are we solving for? We're solving for s. What's happening to my s? I got a t being added to it, and I have an r being added to it. What's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. If y'all are okay, because of time, you could do this. They're both being subtracted. I'm sorry, added. I do the opposite. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do 2 for 1, okay? Just because of time. I'm not breaking any rules. You could do the same thing. 2k minus t minus r. Well, that's a k, that's a t, that's an r. Nothing in common. You just write them. It's almost like you're just listing what they are. You can't actually math. You can't combine. You can't add. You can't do anything. You just write them. Right-hand side. What is that, an S? I didn't touch it, didn't do anything to it, so it's just a S. Y'all, what happens here? I had T dollars in my bank and I spent T dollars, I got none dollars. They went away. Same process as previous problems. Plus R minus R, they go away. So the answer for S is 2K minus T minus R. And remember, y'all have the key, so y'all can check me, okay? Okay, I got 5 minutes. So this was 10.6. This is the inequalities. This problem gives me an inequality that I need to actually solve. It's not already solved. I need to solve it like I would an equation. Then after that, I'm going to write it in interval notation. So that's what, if it has it, that could have like the infinities and the negative infinities, right? And then graph it. So let's solve it. Goal's always the same. Get my x's together. I'm going to move the smaller x. That's the 5 one, right? Not the 6. If I do that, you could do it. You'll get a negative x, and I don't want to do that if I don't have to. So minus 5x minus 5x. What is 6x minus 5x? Just x, right? 6 minus 5 is 1. I did not touch this positive 4. That plus 4, I'm just bringing it down. My inequality symbol is greater than or equal to. Those canceled, y'all. I get what? Plus 7. Just try to be careful. Don't actually write the plus sign because that also could really confuse you, okay? It is a positive 7. There's nothing else near it, so all you have to write is just 7, okay? Now, what do I move? Anybody? Trey? The 4. Thank you, Delia. And what she means by move that 4, it was positive. You do the opposite. What you do to one side, you have to do the other, right? I don't know for sure if either of these are going to use the rule, but as of now, it's just solving it normally like an equation. There is a rule I taught y'all, but it doesn't look like we use it here. We have x, those cancel. Inequality sign is greater than or equal to. 7 minus 4 is what, 3? That is the simplified solved inequality. And I know it's an inequality because it has a inequality symbol. It wants me to write it in interval notation. I've always graphed it first and then wrote it in interval notation because I think this way could be real like backwards looking, okay? If I graph this, I have a greater than or an equal to symbol. Is that a parenthesis or a bracket? That is a bracket. And the value that I'm at, the value that I put that bracket on is my 3. So before I write that though, I want to look and see, I need to know, is my bracket going to open to the left or is my bracket going to open to the right? Well, let me read it. X, this is saying all the values of X can be greater than, which is the same thing as bigger than, right? Or equal to 3. So go to 3. Are the values to the left greater than or bigger than 3? Those are less than, right? So that tells me my bracket's not opening up to those smaller values. My bracket's going to open up to the bigger values. Does it have another value here where it tells me to stop, like a 3 and a 6 or a 5 and an 8? Does it? It doesn't. So that tells me that my X values are all of the values greater than or equal to 3. It doesn't tell me to stop anywhere. So what that implies is that I'm going forever and ever and ever and ever, but no stopping, right? Mathematically, if I continue forever and ever on the right-hand side of the equal sign, am I approaching negative infinity or positive infinity? Positive, because my numbers are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's positive, right? So this is what I do. I draw a little infinity here and I put a little parenthesis. That's going to help me do my interval notation, okay? Because I'm going to read my graph like a book. I'm going to read it like this. When I get to a symbol, I write down that symbol, and then I write down what value it's on, and then I'm going to keep reading it. This shows me what goes on this side of my interval notation. If you don't, it's fine as long as you get the correct answer, right? So let's read this. I get to a bracket first. That's literally, y'all, the first thing in your interval notation. Now, what's the value that my bracket's on? 3. And then you do a comma, and that's because there are 2 values here and you want to make sure that they stay separated, okay? If not, it looks like multiplication and that's not right. Reading it like a book, bracket on my 3. Oh, okay, I keep going on forever and ever and ever. What I wrote here was infinity parenthesis. So infinity parenthesis. If it opens the other way, I'd have done the negative infinity, right? With the parenthesis. And when I'm reading it, I would get to that first. So that's how they end up, they're differing from each other like that. Just so y'all have it, let me solve this real quick. 1 minus 8, signs are different. So I subtract, keep the sign of the larger, keep and keep. -2 less than or equal to 5 and -7, signs are different. So I would subtract, keep the sign of the larger. That's a -4x. I would actually want to move this one, which would be a +7x and a +7x. That cancels here. -2 less than or equal to, signs are different. Subtract and keep and keep. We have our -2. I need to solve for my x. Move my 2. That gives me 0 less than or equal to 3x. Solve for my x. Divide both sides by 3. 0 is less than or equal to x. I'm just doing this, okay? Y'all could just leave some space and put the answer as 0 less than or equal to x. So you can solve it, make sure you get to that, okay? For our number line, less than or equal to, that's a bracket. Less than, that's to the left, right, of 0. So here's my 0. This, oh, hold on, read it this way. I wrote it different. This is my value and then the inequality and then the x. So if you do your x first, it goes x greater than or equal to 0. When you have it written this way, because it's not an equal sign, it will be read differently. X is greater than or equal to 0. Greater than's to the right. On my value 0. It did not tell me to stop. So that goes to positive infinity. Reading it like a book, I get bracket 0, comma, infinity, parenthesis. And that's literally all because my x was on the right-hand side. When you read inequalities, you start with x, okay? Like that's gonna be the easiest way. So even if your answer ends up like this, go ahead and rewrite it so it just makes more sense. This is x is greater than or equal to 0. X greater than or equal to 0. So at least that way y'all have the answer there, okay? If you need help, make sure y'all let me know. Other than that, y'all are free to go unless you have any questions. I don't know what to do. There we go.